Level 1. $0. You are going to be worth $1 billion. But right now you are eating lunch at your desk, the one shoved next to the copy machine, because a $13 sandwich downstairs is money you do not have. You make $14 an hour showing apartments in a building you will never afford. Your checking account has $340. Your student loans have $22,000. Your net worth is negative. Not metaphorically. Mathematically. This afternoon a man named Ray parks a black Mercedes in your lot. He owns this building and 11 others. He asks about vacancy rates and you answer without checking because you already know 3 units, 2 turned, 1 pending a credit check that will fail. He looks at you the way people look at something misplaced. Then he hands you a card. That card is about to rearrange the trajectory of your life. You do not know yet what it will cost to become what it makes possible. It does not mention what you will have to destroy to get there. You call the number that night. Ray tells you to get your license and come back when you are serious. 6 weeks later you do. Level 2. $10,000. Your truck still has a check engine light. Your apartment still has the previous tenant's couch. $10,000 in net worth means you are no longer drowning, you are treading water. And the difference is invisible to everyone except you. You close your first sale, a $280,000 condo. Commission after the brokerage split, $6,720. You deposit the check and sit in your truck in the credit union lot for 11 minutes staring at the number, $7,060. Not because it is a lot of money, because it is the first time the number has not made your chest tight. By Friday, half of it goes to student loans. The rest covers 3 months of deferred rent and a break job. You do not tell anyone at the office. 2 weeks later, team dinner at a steakhouse. Marcus sits near the head of the table. He just closed a $1.8 million strip mall listing, the biggest the brokerage has seen in 6 months. When the check arrives, he pulls a Montblanc pen from his jacket, signs the tab without glancing at the total, and tells you not to worry about your share. Your debit card? The table laughs. Not cruel laughter. Comfortable laughter. The kind that comes from people who have enough money to find poverty amusing. You cannot respond without confirming the card would have declined. It would have. You keep the pen in your memory. You keep the laughter in your chest. Both will compound. Ray takes you to a foreclosure auction. County courthouse steps. 14 people on concrete holding cashier's checks. A 3-bedroom that would list for $220,000 sells for $134,000 to a man in cargo shorts paying cash from a Wyoming LLC. Ray tells you that selling houses to civilians is not how wealth is built. Buying problems nobody else wants to touch, that is the trade. 3 weeks later, you wholesale a probate deal, $88,000 through a hard money lender at 14%. You assign the contract to a flipper for $112,000 3 days later. Profit, $24,000. You never owned the house. You held the paper for 72 hours. You do not celebrate. You move the money to a savings account and check the balance twice a day. You find a duplex. $135,000 asking, $40,000 in rehab. $240,000 after renovation. You need $45,000 to close. You have 10. Ray co-signs the loan. He takes 40% of the deal for putting his name on the paper. 40%. For a signature. You close at a title company on a Wednesday in the only collared shirt you own. You sign 19 documents. Ray signs 3. His 3 are the ones the bank cares about. Level 3. $100,000. Your friends think you are rich because you own buildings. You are not rich. You are leveraged. Your office is your kitchen table at 5 a.m., and your truck has 140,000 miles on it. The duplex appraises at $248,000. You refinance, pull $60,000 in equity, and buy a duplex and a single-family rental. 5 rental doors. $4,200 a month in gross rent. After the mortgage, insurance, taxes, and the 8% management fee you pay to Ray's company, you net $1,800 a month. Your old leasing job paid $2,400. You wake before sunrise, drive between buildings, unclog what needs unclogging, eat standing up, and answer tenant calls during dinner. You are making less money than you were at $14 an hour. But your net worth just crossed $100,000 because the buildings appreciate whether you sleep or not. You quit your day job. The first month without a paycheck, you check your rental income deposits like a pulse. 2 weeks later, a tenant stops paying. Unit 3B. Medical bill, custody dispute, a timeline that keeps extending. You file the eviction on day 45. 4 months and $3,200 in legal fees later, the unit is empty. Compassion and solvency share the same budget line, and the budget does not expand to accommodate both. You build a screening system. Credit minimum 680, income 3 times rent, verification, references. You reject 60% of applicants. Vacancy spikes, then drops to near zero. The 3,200 was tuition. The screening system is the diploma. Marcus closes a $4.2 million commercial deal. Office celebration. You stand near the back holding a paper plate with drywall dust still on your boots. He signs the commission agreement with the Mont Blanc pen, slow, deliberate, the way people sign when the room is watching. He catches your eye and calls your duplexes cute. Starter units. The humiliation is quieter than the dinner. More precise. You find a 12-unit building. 680,000 asking. The numbers work only if you self-manage. Do the rehab yourself and take zero cash flow for 18 months. You need 170,000. You have 100. Ray puts in 70 for 50% equity, 41% of the capital for 50% of the deal. You ask for 60-40. He says no. His name is on the loan. His banker takes his calls. That is worth the points. You sign. Level 4, $500,000, $500,000, and you still wear the same 3 polos to job sites. You eat lunch in your truck between buildings. People at parties hear real estate investor and picture marble countertops. Your version is a clipboard, a drain snake, and a contractor who does not return calls. A city inspector flags 6 code violations on the 24 unit before your accountant finishes calculating that your net worth crossed $500,000. 2 electrical panels, a fire escape railing, 3 smoke detector placements. Fines, $14,000. Repairs, $38,000. You do not have $38,000 liquid. Your net worth is $500,000, and you cannot write a check for $38,000 without borrowing against something. This is the liquidity trap nobody mentions. You call 3 contractors. The first quotes $44,000. The second does not return your call. The third offers $26,000 if you pay up front. You borrow $30,000 from a private lender at 12%, because banks do not lend for code repairs, they lend for acquisitions. 7 weeks later, the inspector clears the building. Total crisis cost, $31,000 in interest, fees, and markup, plus blood pressure medication your doctor prescribes and calls temporary. You hire Daryl, part-time maintenance, $22 an hour, owns his own tools, drives a truck older than yours, answers the phone at midnight because he has been doing this for 14 years. And midnight is Tuesday to him. First month cost you $2,400. That month you sleep through the night for the first time in over a year. $2,400 for sleep. Most expensive sleep you have ever purchased. Also the cheapest. Your truck is newer now. Not new. Newer. Your daughter is 4. She does not understand what you do. She understands you are home more. Marcus appears at an investor meetup. Booth, banner, pitch deck with renderings. He is raising capital for syndications now. You are wearing work boots. He is wearing a blazer. He sees you. He does not make a joke. He asks about your portfolio. 41 doors, you tell him. Self-managed. He nods. The nod is not condescending. It is evaluative. The Mont Blanc pen is in his jacket pocket. You can see the clip, but he does not take it out. The dynamic has shifted 15 degrees. Not 180. 15. But both of you can feel it. Ray proposes a warehouse conversion. 30 loft apartments, $3.2 million total. He wants 50-50. You run the numbers. You refinance 3 buildings to free the cash. You are contributing $500,000 and 80 hours a week for 14 months. Ray is contributing $400,000 and his banker. The split should be 65-35. You ask for it. He says no. You sign the 50-50. But you also call a commercial loan officer at a bank where Ray has no relationship. You introduce yourself. You start building your own credit file, your own track record, your own name. What comes next costs more than equity points. It cost the only relationship that got you here. Level 5, $1 million, $1 million. You say it in your head and it still sounds like a number that belongs to someone else. You comparison shop for gas. You tip 20% and round up, but you notice the total. The warehouse sells out in 9 weeks. Every unit. Your share after raise 50% in debt service, $620,000. Your net worth crosses 1 million. You expect something, not fireworks. Something. What you get is a wire transfer notification and a tax estimate that makes your hands shake. $186,000 in federal and state taxes. You did not set aside quarterly estimates because nobody told you to. You order a cost segregation study. It saves $74,000 in first-year depreciation. You learn the phrase estimated quarterly payments the way you learn most expensive phrases by paying the penalty for not knowing them earlier. Becoming a millionaire and remaining a millionaire are two different professions. You buy your first house, $425,000, 3 bedrooms, a yard, a garage. You did not buy the $650,000 with the pool. You bought the one that felt earned, not performed. Your mother visits. She walks through every room. She touches the kitchen countertops with both palms flat, the way you touch something to make sure it will not disappear. She cries at the dining table. You sit across from her and understand that your wealth is not only yours. It is your mother's sacrifice with a 25-year delay on the return. The countertop she is touching cost $4,200. The hands touching it worked a register for 19 years. The garage has space for 2 cars. You own one. The second space holds boxes from the apartment you lived in for 6 years. An investor from the warehouse deal calls. He wants you to deploy capital on his behalf. Then another calls. Then 3 more. You hire an attorney at $400 an hour who drafts an operating agreement you read 6 times and understand half of. 5 investors, pooled capital, and a legal structure you are still learning to pronounce. Ray pulls you aside in a parking lot after a closing. 2 coffees. He tells you that you do not need his cosign anymore. Your own track record. Your own banker. Your watch costs more than his now. Neither of you mentions it. It should feel like graduation. It feels like your father telling you to move out. You find a 200-unit apartment complex in a secondary market. Distressed 68% occupied. Deferred maintenance. The owner mid-divorce and willing to close in 45 days. $11 million. You need $3.5 million in equity. You have $1 million. You need to raise $2.5 from strangers in 6 weeks. You pick up the phone. The first name on the list is someone you have never met. The voice on the other end asks who you are. Nobody has ever asked you that question when the answer was worth $2.5 million. Level 6. $10 million. Your car is German now. Someone at a closing calls you sir and means it financially, not the way cashiers say it, the way bankers say it when your balance has enough digits. $10 million means doors open that you did not know existed. Most of them lead to rooms where people will ask you for money. You raise $2.8 million in 31 days. 22 calls go nowhere. 18 go somewhere. 6 wire capital. Word spreads. 8 more follow before close. You close the 200 unit at $10.8 million with 14 investors, a staff of 6, and a renovation budget your contractor has already called tight. You are 34 years old. Your business card says managing partner printed at a real printer this time, not the Staples kiosk where you made your first 100. Your daily reality says general contractor, tenant therapist, and full-time anxiety management system. You rent an office for $1,800 a month. The irony of paying rent while owning 200 apartments does not escape you. Renovation runs $600,000 over budget. The HVAC replacement uncovers asbestos the Phase 1 environmental report missed. Abatement. $220,000. 3 investors email within 48 hours asking where their money is. You write a 4-page quarterly update explaining timelines, costs, revised projections. 1 replies with thanks. 2 reply with deadlines. Ray calls. His voice has the careful flatness of someone who has rehearsed what they are about to say. His strip mall lost its anchor tenant, a grocery chain that moved across the highway. The anchor lease was 40% of the building's income. He cannot service the $38,000 monthly mortgage without it. He asks for a bridge loan, $400,000, 12 months. You wire it at 10% interest, secured by the property. You draft the promissory note using the same template Ray taught you 6 years ago. It does not feel like business. It feels like handing a tourniquet to the person who taught you first aid, with your initials printed on the bill. The 200 unit stabilizes. Occupancy climbs from 68 to 94% in 11 months. Appraisal, $18.5 million. Your investors receive a 22% cash-on-cash return. 1 sends a bottle of whiskey with a note apologizing for the email. You put it on the shelf. You never open it. Your wardrobe changes without you deciding it should. Someone buys you a sport coat for a closing dinner. You wear it. You look like the people who used to make you nervous. Ray cannot repay. His strip mall is worth less than the debt. He asks for an extension. Your attorney sends a single-word email. Foreclosure. You think about the business card in the leasing office, the co-signed loan, the coffee in the parking lot. Then you think about the 14 investors whose capital you manage and the fiduciary duty that exists in a legal document, whether you feel like honoring it or not. You foreclose. You acquire Ray's strip mall at the discounted value. You now own the building your mentor built his career around. Ray does not call after the closing. You never delete his number. You never dial it. Some relationships end with a fight. Some end with a filing. Your net worth crosses 10 million. You do not feel 10 times richer. You feel 15% more anxious. You are invited to join the advisory board of a regional bank, the same bank where you once needed Ray's name to qualify for a loan. You sit in a leather chair in a paneled room. Your shoes cost $400. At the leasing office, they cost $40. Level 7. $50 million. People Google you before meetings. You get invited to dinners that do not list prices. Your name appears in trade publications next to words like portfolio and strategy. $50 million means you no longer introduce yourself, someone else does it for you. You launch your first discretionary fund. Target, $75 million. You hire a CFO at $280,000, a general counsel at $320,000, an investor relations manager at $180,000, and the support staff they require. Annual payroll, $1.3 million before the fund acquires a single building. A state pension fund allocates $15 million. Due diligence takes 7 months and 340 pages. The analyst reviewing your file is 28 years old. He has never owned property. He has never unclogged a drain at 2 a.m. or foreclosed on his mentor or managed a renovation that went $600,000 over budget. He asks you to justify a 3% variance in projected operating expenses on a building you know better than he knows his own apartment. You answer politely. The discipline of not asking if he has ever held a set of keys that represented everything he owned costs a small piece of something you will not get back. Your fund acquires 1,200 units across 3 states for $94 million. The wire transfer takes 11 seconds. It took you 14 years to earn the right to send it. The deal closes on a Thursday. Friday, your phone rings 44 times before lunch. You answer 6. You triage the rest by text. You have not had an uninterrupted Saturday in 3 years. Your calendar is managed by someone you have never met in person. You attend a charity gala. Your suit costs more than your first duplex's monthly rent. Marcus is at your table. His syndication manages $30 million now. You see the Montblanc pen when he signs a silent auction bid. Same pen, same deliberate hand. Then he leans toward you and says something quiet enough that only you hear. He mentions Ray. He calls it cold. You lift your water glass. You drink. Agreeing would be confession. Disagreeing would be denial. Explaining would be justification. Silence is the only move that does not make it worse. He lets the silence sit for exactly long enough to make it permanent, then asks about parking validation. You are no longer a person who buys buildings. You are becoming the infrastructure that decides who gets to buy them. That is not wealth. That is territory. Level 8. $250 million. There is art on your walls you did not choose. A driver you do not need but use because parking is beneath the hourly value of your time. $250 million means the money has its own staff, its own calendar, its own problems. Your family office employs 9 people. Their entire job is making sure your money does not lose value while you sleep. You pay them $1.4 million a year more than your first 12-unit building cost. They are worth it. They are also the reason you sometimes feel like a passenger in your own financial life. The engine runs whether you touch the controls or not. You donate $5 million to build a community center in the neighborhood where you bought your first duplex. The building goes up in 14 months. Your face is on a plaque by the entrance. A woman you recognize, Unit 2A. Always 3 days late, but always paid, tells you the tutoring program changed her daughter's life. You nod. You thank her. You walk to your car and sit for 20 minutes with the engine off. Old friends from the leasing office stopped calling 2 years ago. New friends only appeared after the Forbes mention. You can tell the difference. Your daughter is 16. She asks for a car. You buy a used Honda Civic, 14,000, 38,000 miles. Your own car costs 14 times what hers did. She does not know this. Her friend's father buys his daughter a new BMW. Your daughter says nothing about it, which is louder than any complaint. A senator's office calls. Fundraising dinner, $10,000 a plate, 40 guests. You write a $250,000 check to the PAC. The The senator shakes your hand with both hands, the grip reserved for donors above a certain threshold. The $250,000 does not buy a policy outcome. It buys a returned phone call. Marcus calls. You have not heard his voice in 2 years. Rising interest rates destroyed his refinancing assumptions. Properties bought at 4% carrying debt at 7.5%. Margin calls on 3 buildings simultaneously. He needs $12 million to survive the quarter. You listen. You open a spreadsheet your acquisitions team prepared 6 weeks ago. They flagged his portfolio as a distressed opportunity before he ever picked up the phone. You knew this call was coming before he dialed. You offer 70 cents on the dollar. Bulk purchase. Clean close. 30 days. Marcus is silent for 11 seconds. You count them. He accepts. The call lasts 14 minutes. When it ends, you own everything Marcus built, including the office where he once signed the commission agreement on a $4.2 million deal with the Mont Blanc pen while you stood near the back holding a paper plate. The address is the same. The landlord has changed. Level 9. $1 billion. Your CFO emails a valuation memo on a Tuesday morning in April. You read it on your phone while eating scrambled eggs at your kitchen counter. The eggs cost $6 a dozen. Your net worth increased $42 million last quarter. The ratio between the eggs and the quarterly gain is a number the human brain was not designed to hold. You finish the eggs. You rinse the plate. Your security detail waits in the driveway. You eat the same breakfast every morning because eliminating small decisions is the only way to preserve bandwidth for the ones that move markets. $1 billion feels like a Tuesday because by the time you arrive, you have been numb to the checkpoints for years. You speak at conferences now. $5,000 passes. You give the same speech discipline, compounding, patience. You walk off stage and get into a car that is already waiting, door open, engine running, and ride to a plane that costs $8,000 an hour to operate. You leave out the foreclosure. You leave out the distressed acquisitions. You leave out the 3 years of insomnia between 10 million and 50 million. The version may hear is an edited highlight reel. The chapters that actually explain how it works are the ones you will never deliver from a stage. A handwritten note arrives. Cream stationery. Blue ink. A stamp. Ray. He saw the Forbes feature. He says you earned it. He says he taught you well. You read it 4 times. You cannot tell if it is sincere or sarcastic. The handwriting is steady, which rules out the possibility he wrote it drunk. You put the note in the top drawer of a desk, the same desk you sat at next to the copy machine, which you took when you left and have kept in your home office ever since. You do not respond. Some debts between money and gratitude never fully close. This is one. Your daughter is 28. She starts her own real estate company. She refuses your money, your connections, your attorney. She closes her first deal a fourplex, $320,000. You find out from her Instagram post. She does not tag you. You do not call. The most useful thing you can give her right now is the experience of doing it without you. You walk through the lobby of a building you acquired last month. 40 stories, marble floors. In the leasing office on the ground floor, a 24-year-old sits at a desk waiting for a walk-in who will never arrive. He makes $15 an hour, $1 more than you did, plus $75 per signed lease. He has $280 in his checking account and a spreadsheet open on his laptop, a comp analysis he built himself because nobody asked him to. You see him through the glass. You do not stop. You do not hand him your card. In the top drawer of the hallway desk in your home office, next to Ray's note, a Mont Blanc pen sits in a ceramic cup with 15 other pens. It came from Marcus's old office during the acquisition. Capped, out of ink. Your assistant placed it there without knowing what it was. It is no longer special. The most complete inversions always are. If this one stayed with you, leave a thought below. Subscribe for more.